Hi, this is Michelle with Drift and Dwell with Michelle. And today I am doing a book review on The Payoff Principle by Dr. Alan R. Zimmerman. I have a breakdown of the chapters, and I'm just going to read the notes I took on my computer. I might explain them a little bit, but pretty much I'm just going to read through my notes so you can get a general idea of the breakdown of the book. So chapters 1 and 2 of the Payoff Principle. In my notes, I put, I love the part where Dr. Zimmerman says, you can do anything for 5 minutes. This is so true. I have used this strategy for several years now and felt almost crazy for doing it. Seeing the idea in this book gave me validation that it wasn't so crazy after all. The thought process behind this is that tasks, especially big ones, can seem so daunting at times. And as we all know, getting started is the hardest part. But if you can do something for 5 minutes, that's not very long, then boom, you've already started the task. In addition, many times you end up working more than 5 minutes on it. Working on a task for about 5 minutes several times a week can easily add up to an hour's worth of dedication on a topic, whether it be cleaning or working on the house or reading a book like this one. You need to have an idea of goals also, of what you want in order to have a focus and make progress. How do you know if you're achieving your goals if you don't even have any goals in the first place? Have a plan, have direction, have intention. Be a producer, not a moocher. I threw in the moocher part. Be a person who makes things happen. Though the book doesn't use these words exactly, in this part, it also talks about being comfortable trying new things and taking risks. Another way to put this is be courageous. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll continue getting the same results that you've always had. Don't be afraid to change things up. There's a lot more good advice in the first 2 chapters too, such as have a passion. Don't quit when there are setbacks. Push forward. Move on. Be positive. Take responsibility. Don't blame others for your lack of success. Do your own research. Read. Educate yourself on the topics you are passionate about. Chapters 3 and 4. I love this part. You have a purpose. You are here to make some kind of positive difference in the world. Yes, I cried when I read that in chapters 3 and 4. And this means more than just going to work and collecting a paycheck. That's survival, not purpose. There are payoffs to feeling that you have purpose, and that positive effect helps your health. Your calendar may be filled with good things, but these things may be crowding out better things like your purpose and priorities. Sometimes we worry, this was me up until recently. Sometimes we worry too much about what other people want us to do. So we end up doing those things because it's what's expected of us. And this is usually not connected or in line with our passion and purpose. Here are some good questions to ask yourself. What do you love to do? What excites you? What is your passion? What difference do you want to make? What are you good at? What do others say that you're good at? Have friends, family, and coworkers write down a list of 10 things they see as your strengths and things that you're good at. The things that you're good at and your passions may be things you don't even recognize because you are so used to being an expert on them. Chapters 5 and 6, persistence and attitude. Now ask 10 people, am I more negative or am I more positive? I kind of lucked out on this one because people will say that I tend to be more positive. So this wasn't a big obstacle for me. As I'm reading through this chapter, I'm like, oh, I do this. This right here is my strength. Have an attitude for gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. Limit your exposure to negative news and info. And on a personal note, I've been telling my girls that a lot the past few years, that I wish I had known this more at a younger age. I've become more choosy. I've become choosier about what I allow in my mind. I used to love scary movies. I used to obsess over certain things. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But then once things are in there, they don't just come back out. Those images, those things you see. So be choosy about what you let in here. It's your most valuable tool. Chapter 7 and 8. I have two things written down for chapter 7 and 8. The persistence of passion and the character of passion. That's what those chapters are about. And this sums up, here are my notes for chapters 9 through 11. So I was reading this book at a pretty much accelerated pace, still enjoying it until I got to these chapters. And I don't mean this in a bad way. So once you get to these chapters, at some point, guys, we are going to need to take all of this knowledge that we gained and start putting it into action. That's why I had to pause at this part. This isn't just a feel-good self-help book. In order for it to truly help you, at some point, some action was going to need to take place. And that time was now at this point in this book. He has you make affirmation statements. Since I read this over Christmas break and the beginning of January, I went ahead and just connected it to my goals for the new year. It was very helpful in that way. So I took my time reading these chapters while writing and tweaking my affirmations. It was actually perfect because I'd already made these goals by setting my New Year's resolutions. So I took these goals and turned them into my affirmations. It actually went perfectly hand in hand, as I was saying a moment ago. Chapters 12 through 14, the importance on how to communicate with others. There were a lot of good things in these chapters. Things that break communities and communication, interrupting others, gossiping, discounting others, not giving them enough credit, not giving them a chance, not acknowledging others. And he uses that example of when you walk into a store and the people working behind the counter just keep chatting with the other coworker. And I don't like how that feels. I actually do want to be acknowledged, of at least look at me, say hello, acknowledge my existence. Guys, that's what we all want. So don't interrupt others. Don't gossip. Don't discount others. Acknowledge others. Also, talking too much is not good. Uh-oh. But also not talking enough. And I loved that part of sometimes you cannot talk enough. You talk too little. Make sure when you're talking, talk deeply. Ask deep questions that actually mean something, not just yes and no. Things you know you'll get yes and no answers to. Schedule do not disturb time to maintain healthy relationships that keep communication in the forefront. I need to make a date night with my husband. Speaking of that, don't confuse silence for agreement. I like that. Here's a good process to use. Share out facts. Share out feelings. Think of some positive solutions. Think of advantages and disadvantages. And then implementation. This is big. Listen to this. Talking is sharing. but listening is caring. Guys, that is big. I'm going to say it again. Talking is sharing, but listening is caring. I love it. So there were lots of tips on how to be a good listener. Lean in. Eye contact. Reduce physical barriers, like a desk. Face them. Thoughtfully respond to what is being said rather than emotionally respond. I have trouble with that. Try to avoid emotionally responding so that you are not hypersensitive or have your peace stolen. Try not to be defensive. So guys, that's my review of the Payoff Principle. It is a good read. I found value in it. I feel like it was perfect timing with it being January when I finished it up. It was a meaningful read to me. I wouldn't do a book review had it not been. Thanks. Bye.